Having grown up nickel and diming it, I felt like money was going to be the answer to all the turmoil that had been in my life, and I was able to purchase a business out of being out of pharmacy school just less than 2 years. There really wasn't any peace in my life. My wife was an alcoholic, and I spent most of my non-working hours in the bars myself. I was a functional alcoholic, which it led eventually to our marriage, a divorce. Fortunately, after just a couple of years of living a very, very worldly lifestyle, a friend of mine that came out of prison and told me about Jesus. The example of how his life had changed when he came to know Christ really struck home with me. And for the first time, I really felt like I knew somebody that wasn't just a churchgoer on Sunday, but that really loved the Lord. One afternoon, I accepted Christ. The Holy Spirit fell on me, and he changed me overnight. For the first time, at 33 years old, I really felt like what the peace of the Lord could bring. Barbara had just gone through a bad divorce herself, and the Lord put us together, and we began to build a family based on Christian principles.
You know, everybody thought I was crazy because I was 30 years old and I was going to have a 13, a 14, and an 18-year-old child.
It really worked out great for us and for the kids who had, for the first time in their life, had a mom.
When our life was, it seemed to be up at the top, is when we got the call. And Vince said, Barbara, Jay has just been killed. And, you know, the props were knocked out from under me, and I just handed the phone to Larry. And we started on that journey of parents losing a child.
Jesus really did reach out and take us by our right hand and lift us up. My pastor at that time, who was my best friend, had been able to come and be right there at the accident with us. By the time we had shared what happened with our daughter-in-law and gotten home, our church family was already immersing us in love. A few years later, we got the same call again. We'd been to the Fat Stock Show and Rodeo, and when we got the call that our youngest son had been found dead, I think it's in Isaiah, he writes that if you steadfastly trust the Lord, he will give you the strength to make it through anything, and he'll also bring you peace. And in those tragic circumstances with both deaths, he never failed us. A few years later, we were on a weekend trip to Nashville. We'd had a great time for a few days, and we're getting ready to go to church there before an afternoon flight back home. I realized Barbara was having difficulty speaking, and she couldn't get her makeup on. And of course, I knew right away that she had had a stroke.
I was in a pretty bad state. And at that time, I did have the sense about me to pray and say, God, help me, please. I can't stay this way. You know, I've got kids and grandkids and a husband. Please heal me.
It wasn't luck that we were in Nashville and Vanderbilt University Hospital, which is one of the #1 stroke centers in the United States, was there to take care of her. A neurologist met her gurney coming off the ambulance before the day was over. She had seen 6 different doctors. And after 30 days, we were able to come home to our church family here.
They greeted us at the airport,
Yeah.
our life group. I cannot imagine going through some of the things we've been through without God in our lives. God has been so good. Yes, there have been valleys, but there have been hills. And He tells us in this world we will have problems, but He has overcome this world.